It's all good. Just try, because you're never going to get better if you don't try. So at least just try and do this thing that you're trying to learn, and be okay with like fucking up. It's going to happen. There's no other way to learn. Hey, what's up? How is it going? I hope everybody is doing well. Happy Monday morning if you're listening to this in the morning. Happy Monday evening if you're watching the YouTube version of this. As you know, the podcast drops at 5 a.m. on Mondays and Thursdays. And then on the YouTube, it drops at 5 p.m. on Mondays and Thursdays. And if you're brand new to this show, welcome to the show. It's the Risen Fallen podcast. We all fall together, we rise. And, what you can expect to hear is open and authentic conversations about things like mental health, self-development, and, moving your life in the right direction. Even if you feel like, you're not really where you want to be yet in life, then at least moving closer and closer towards that, moving in the right direction, and feeling like you are, making yourself better every single day, making yourself stronger, and along the journey, lifting others up as well. If you're not new to this show, if you're a returning listener or returning viewer, if you're a returning supporter, then thank you for coming back and supporting this journey, supporting this movement, and really just coming back to support the show. Whether you're brand new to this podcast or not, you are the reason that I do what I do. Yes, you listening right now. I'm pointing at you. If you're listening to this podcast version, I'm pointing right now at you. So hopefully you can hear that I'm pointing. I don't know how you'd hear that I'm pointing, but I hope that you do. But anyways, happy Monday morning. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing pretty well. I am enjoying this. I'm enjoying this beautiful weather that we're getting here in Vancouver. I really like the heat. You guys know. I just made that episode last week about, how the weather changes and how everyone's always, there's always going to be people that complain about the weather. So if you didn't listen to that episode yet, make sure you go back and check that one out. But yeah, today, it's actually Saturday for me today when I'm recording this, and it's going to come out in a couple days. And I just wanted to kind of make this little reminder, I guess it's kind of like a thought process, or I don't really know what it is, but I was just thinking about it today while I was running, while I was doing my workout. This morning I went for a little visit at my girlfriend's parents' place. Had to check out a couple of things that they might need some work on at their house. A couple of drywall repairs, a couple side projects that I can go and work on the weekends in my free time. And after that, I came home and did some editing on the podcast, and then I was sitting in my office here, and I was just working on the podcast, and I was thinking, I really need to be a bit more active today. You guys know that I like to do a workout every single day, do something that kind of exerts some energy. So I went on a nice little 8.5 kilometer run, came home, did a bunch of push-ups, some rows, a little bit of a weightlifting, like resistance training workout, a little circuit. And then showered up, had a little snacky poo, and now I'm here sitting down, and I thought I'd record this because, as I was running, I was thinking about the past week that I had working in renovations and construction, and there's a kid, he's a kid, he's like a guy, he's a dude, he's like just finishing up high school, and he's doing his apprenticeship in carpentry, so he's working alongside me, I took him kind of on throughout the week. I just kind of took him through what I do on a weekly basis, and obviously that changes every single week. It's not really like a regular carpentry job where you show up to the same place all the time. You're just doing some framing or doing some concrete forms or anything like that. Like when you're working in renovations and you're doing custom work for multiple different customers throughout the week. Every day is so different. And I kind of took them through the different tasks that we do, from doing a little bit of finish work in a bathroom, laundry room renovation that we're doing in South Vancouver. I took them to a big project that I have that's a huge reno that we're doing, like an addition onto the front of a house and adding a story on top. So we were working with a little bit of insulation and making sure everything's sealed up properly, and making sure, just little tasks of, doing some backing so the drywallers can finish their job, and a lot of little miscellaneous jobs. And then, we ended up doing a little bit of we built a carport and a shed for another guy. So tons of little things. And I think that, I think he was kind of very surprised at how versatile these skills can really transfer and be. Like, I think, that's the best way to say it. I think he was kind of shocked or surprised at how versatile these skills can be, and how transferable these skills can be to completing a lot of different tasks and getting a lot of different projects done, and how useful you can be, and to provide value for people. And I was thinking about when I was finishing up high school, and all the different jobs that I worked. And I kind of wanted to share a little bit about a lesson that I've learned from a couple different jobs that I've worked at. And I also just kind of wanted to remind you guys, or kind of remind you to reflect on, what you've learned throughout your years. I think that a lot of us, when we think about ourselves, we think about who we are today, or we kind of reflect back on some of the traumas that we've been through, or some of the pain that we've been through, maybe some of the wins that we've had in the last year. But if you're anything like me, sometimes you forget to reflect on your journey through life, and some of the different things that you've learned and experienced. And so that's kind of what was going on through my head today as I was, doing my run and doing a little bit of journaling after my workout, was just thinking about, all the different things that I've experienced throughout the years, and particularly when working in jobs. And so I wanted to kind of chat about those things, and we're about to get into that. But before we do, I'm going to take a little sip of my water here. So as I take a sip of my water, if you guys have been listening to a lot of my episodes recently, you know that it is time to take a sip of whatever you got in front of you, whether that's a water, a coffee, a protein shake, some amino acids, or a tea. I don't know, anything like that. If you got nothing in front of you, take a second to just breathe and get in the mindset of reflection and development. And I'm going to take a sip of my water now. I doubled up. I took 2 sips. I doubled up. So my, when I was growing up through high school and my elementary school years, I had a couple different jobs. I started out by reffing hockey and reffing softball, or umpiring softball. I picked up odd jobs, pushing a lawnmower around my neighborhood, and trying to make some money that way. But my first official job, where I went in for an interview and I got hired and I had a schedule and I had to punch in and punch out, was working at Value Village. It's a little thrift store. Probably heard of it. If you haven't, then you can look it up, but it's a thrift store. And I really just worked there. I only got a job there because a bunch of my friends worked there from school and rugby, and I just wanted to, I knew I wanted to make some more money. I knew I wanted to have some disposable income so I could buy some cool things. And I thought that would be the best route to go about it. And in that job, I kind of realized that when you're working with friends, when you're working with people that you enjoy, when you can build a community around you with your coworkers and have some fun, then, especially when you're working an hourly job, life can be so much more enjoyable. Your job can be so much more enjoyable. You kind of look forward to going there because oh yeah, I wonder what the boys are going to be up to today. Especially working at a thrift store, we always got up to, kind of got up to no good. Definitely playing with a lot of the things that we ended up getting at that store, like skateboards or rollerblades. I remember there was definitely times where, we would put rollerblades on that had been donated there, and then when we cleaned up at the end of the day, we're like sweeping and mopping up with rollerblades on to make it go fast. We convinced people that it would make us go faster. We did a lot of different things. Obviously, like thrift stores are super busy around Halloween time, so we'd put the costumes on and go and dance outside to try and drive business. We did a lot of cool, funny things back then, but just my biggest takeaway from that was knowing that, like, when you work with people that you enjoy and when you can build friendships and relationships with the people that you work with, it just makes life so much more enjoyable. After that, I ended up working at a little pizza parlor, a little Boston Pizza, a little restaurante, and serving up food. And I really just went through pretty much every position available at that job. I knew I wanted to make a new career path for myself. I basically got referred there from a friend again that worked there. He's my best friend, and he worked there, and I was like, fuck, I want to work with him. And so I went in and I basically said, hey, I'll do whatever job you guys want. And they were like, hey, we need delivery drivers for the pizza. And I was like, I'm in. I got a license. I got a car. I had a little pickup truck back then. And I was like, yeah, I'll tote these pizzas around and I'll fucking deliver them up. I'll serve them up to people. And so I accepted whatever job they had. And I worked as a delivery driver. And then I kind of worked through, and I was like, I hung out with a lot of the kitchen staff. I was like, these guys are my kind of guys. They seemed really dope. They seemed really fun. So I wanted to work in the kitchen. And I went to my manager one day and I said, okay, I want to work in the kitchen. They said, okay, well, all kitchen staff have to start. I had to work as a dishwasher, do a couple shifts of that. Then I did like portion preps, and I just basically like pre-portioned a bunch of meals I worked through. Ended up working as like a little line cook there, and then I saw how much money and how much fun the servers were making. They're making a lot of tips. They're having fun. They're getting to talk to so many different people, that like all the customers, and build a little community, meeting all the regulars. I was like jealous. I was like, fuck, I want to do that. So I asked my manager, can I work as a server? And she said, well, all the servers had to start off working as hosts. Like the greeters, like the people that would seat people, and the people that would clean tables and set tables and do all that. So she's like, if you want to be a server, you have to do that and then get some qualifications, because we do serve liquor. So you have to like do a course on serving liquor safely. And so I went through. I worked as a host and then got promoted, I guess, to a server. Did all my courses, and I just, I remember I basically worked every single job in that restaurant. I went from like delivery driver to dishwasher to cook to host to server, and I would climb through, and I just kind of worked at every position in that restaurant. And it really just taught me that, if you want to change your schedule, if you want to change your position, if you want to change the job that you do, really, like, a lot of the times all you have to do is ask. A lot of people feel bound to what they do currently, and they feel like they have no room for growth, and they feel like maybe they've said, hey, can I do that, to the manager? And the manager says no. And then they kind of just feel stuck, or they feel limited. And, I think that persistence in asking for the things that you're looking for in your job or in your life can really get you to experience a lot of different things. And as well, I think that sometimes we ask, can I do this? Or should I do this? Or am I able to do this? And that's kind of a yes or no question, where someone says just no. They just look at you and they say, no, you can't. And I think that instead of asking, other people or ourselves, can I do this? what we really should be asking is, how can I do this? How can I go about doing this? Hey, I want to change my position. How can I do this? Hey, I want to change my schedule to this. How can I do this? Hey, I want to make more money. How can I go about doing that? Because what is working right now, or what is happening right now, is not working for me. It's not satisfying me. It's not making me motivated. So how can I make this change? Whether you ask that of yourself, or whether you ask that of your employer, or whether you ask that of, anybody that you deal with, I think the question of how can I change this, instead of can you change this for me, it kind of changes the situation altogether. Of just like, it opens up the doors of opportunity so much more when you just ask yourself or ask somebody else, how can I go about changing this? Especially when you ask yourself. Yeah. And, my next jobs, I worked as a laborer for my dad's company before I ended up taking any training in carpentry, or learning how to build anything. I just worked as a laborer, and I'll talk a little bit more about my work in construction in a bit, but I'll skip ahead to one of my next jobs was working at the gym and working in sales. And I remember same kind of thing when I went in for my interview. I went in a 3-piece suit, and they were like, it was like that Step Brothers scene where they're like, you do know you're like applying for an entry-level job at a fucking gym, right? And I was just like, hey, look, I'm here to impress. I'm here to do my very best, and I will take whatever job you guys will give me, because I want to work in a motherfucking gym. Fitness is the only thing that brings me happiness, and so whatever it takes. And so they gave me a sales position, slanging memberships. I ended up getting promoted after about a year and a half to assistant manager, and then I worked a little bit longer there. They ended up making me a general manager, and then I managed an entire sales team and managed the gym. And tons of fun there. And that job, specifically being a manager, exposed a lot of weaknesses for me. And this is kind of where, it kind of leads into where I'm at currently, because that job exposed so many weaknesses within myself to me that I didn't understand until looking back at these things, because that's kind of how hindsight works. But it exposed a lot of, inability to deal with customer complaints. I always, had that like self-justification, had that self-righteousness thinking like, who are you to complain? Like, if you don't like the gym, fucking leave. And that was kind of my attitude towards a lot of complaints. Unless I felt like the complaint was one that I would have, I didn't think it was legitimate. And so I never really thought about, seeing things from other people's perspectives when I was in that position. Because I just kind of, if I thought that if someone was complaining to me and I couldn't see myself making that exact same complaint, if I didn't see myself in their shoes, then I thought that their complaint or their issues or their problems were null and void. I didn't think that those were real problems. And so I would just kind of shrug it off and think, okay, well, fucking deal with it yourself. I don't care. And a lot of the times I dealt with the staff members the exact same way. I had my own little department. I had my sales team that I ran, and then there was other managers that managed other areas of the gym. And so the people that I didn't manage, I really didn't care what they did a lot of the time. I was just like, yeah, whatever, do whatever you want to do. Have fun. I don't give a fuck. You have your own manager, and he'll take care of you, and she'll take care of you, and you do you. But my team, I really wanted them to be able to do all the things that I was able to do. And I really didn't care about a lot of the things that I should have cared about with them. And I feel like that was one of the biggest steps for me to become a better leader and to become a better person, is understanding that so many different people have so many different strengths and weaknesses. Again, this is something that I talked about last Monday when I was chatting about ADHD and the plethora of different personality traits that people have. But it really exposed a weakness in myself in terms of leadership and just kind of being a better person and a more likable person, probably, is like I found my success through my own strengths, and I wanted to replicate that in other people. And so when they weren't able to do some of the things that I did, then I'd get frustrated, and I would just tell them to do it my way, even though they maybe had a better way of doing it or a different way of doing it, or, they wanted to achieve different things. And so, not being able to align, all the different parts of a team towards one central goal was a big frustration of mine. And I think that was I'm kind of being a little bit hard on myself. But that's just kind of how I view it, because, there was success that we had in that team, and there was a lot of different people that were super talented. And, we ended up getting a lot of different awards through the organization. But, if I were to just isolate the things that I could have improved on, that's what I'm kind of thinking about. There's just a lot of different leadership styles out there, and there's a lot of different tactics that you can use to uplift your team, and I didn't really understand a lot of them. And so just really focusing in on the individual goals of the individual parts of your team and trying to align those with the bigger picture is something that I really struggled with back then, because I wanted everyone to achieve the one thing that I was focused on, which at the time was just, to be honest, making money. And so it was a big stepping stone for me, because I realized a lot of my weaknesses. And so that kind of leads me back into, after I worked at that job, I worked at another restaurant. I tried doing like some online businesses, and I ended up spending a lot of my money, and I needed another income. And so I ended up working at another restaurant, same kind of gig that I had before. I was like, I know I can do this. I'm a social guy. I can make a fuck ton of money in tips during the evenings, and then during the day I'll have the freedom to start my own podcast, start my own YouTube channel. And that was really when I started making all the content that I make now. I was like, I can fund it just by working in the evenings in this restaurant, and during the day I can work on making this content that I want to make, and really just kind of starting to connect with the community that I want to build. And so I work at this restaurant, and all's going well, making good money. I'm meeting new friends. I'm partying. I'm having fun, and it was really just a pivotal moment for my life, because the whole lockdown thing started happening, and that job really taught me, as good as things can get, I really appreciate the fun times that you're having, because a lot, especially in a lot of different industries, and this one in particular, things can just be taken from you in a day, in the flash of a fucking day. And we were having fun, we were serving and making money, working in the bar, making mad money in tips. And within like a week, we were like, hey, we might get shut down. And then the next day it was like, yo, we're getting shut down, tomorrow's the last day of operations. We're going to have a meeting and basically talk to you guys about what's going on, and best of luck. And then, we don't know how long this is going to be. And I remember being super frustrated, and, it is what it is. We all kind of lost our jobs temporarily, and it really opened my eyes to the idea of like, hey, I need to really find a way for myself to generate money, and to have a way that I don't have to rely on another business or another person. I need to kind of carve my own path. And that was kind of what I realized at the time, and which led me back to construction, because I watched so many different people be able to either start their own companies or grow so much in another company that they had the ability to kind of start building their own clientele. And I was like, this is a skill that I want to learn. And so I ended up coming back to construction, working in renovations, and learning a little bit more about carpentry and developing those skills. And I've, picked up a few side jobs here and there and contracted out different people. And just kind of learning the ins and outs of that whole industry has really taught me about how autonomous you can be if you start to actually develop your own skill set. and work on yourself to make yourself more valuable, or work on yourself to make yourself better, um, and really just kind of getting better, not just at the skill or the trade that you work in, but with your communication with other people. Because especially with when you're working on a huge job, and you're working with all these different sub trades, um, having to organize when they're coming and what they're doing and how to make their jobs easier and how to make their jobs more efficient, and the order of operations of everything, of when things get done. It really does kind of help you not only just deal with projects better, but deal with people better as well. And so to go full circle, when I had this apprentice come and work with us, it really just helped me when I was reflecting back on some of the past jobs that I've had. And, it really gave me a lot more, in my opinion, it gave me a lot more patience to kind of meet him where he was at and say, like, hey, I know you're new to this. Have you done this before? Have you done that before? And just kind of work with him where he's at and teach him a couple new things and let him do things and make mistakes, and be like, all right, fuck, dude, it's all good. I got a little bit of extra material because I thought this would happen, because I even remember saying, like, you might want to do this. And he goes, how'd you know I was going to do that? And I said, well, every mistake that you've made, I've made 100 times before. So every mistake that you're going to make, I've probably made it already. And it's all good. Just try, because you're never going to get better if you don't try. So at least just try and do this thing that you're trying to learn, and be okay with, like, fucking up. It's going to happen. There's no other way to learn. Obviously working in construction as well, it's taught me the value of hard physical labor. It's taught me the value of working hard, and, how much you can really learn about yourself through hard work. And I think that, a lot of times in society, we look down upon people that work physical jobs or blue-collar jobs, and I've been like that before. I remember the first time I went and worked in construction, I even said to myself, I don't want to be like this forever. I don't want to do this forever. And learning that, the more specific skills that you pick up, the different jobs that you can get, the different things, because when you first start off, you don't really know any skills. You don't really know any niche skills, or you don't really know how to. So, like, a lot of the times you're just fucking carrying things around for other people, or handing them tools, or you're just like a laborer, like you're digging fucking holes, or doing shit like that, and you think this fucking sucks. But a lot of the times that's how everything starts. You do the shitty work first, and that's kind of a lot of the times as well how people test out what you're going to be like, what your attitude's going to be like. And I think that, again, in the construction industry as well, you develop the weirdest, funniest friendships with random people that, you never would talk to on the street. The old guy that smokes darts half the day, and the young apprentices that are around your age as well. Like, you kind of get to speak to a lot of different people that you normally wouldn't speak to. And you get to learn a lot of cool different things about, different things in life while you're just sitting there chatting and trying to, work away the day. And, a lot of these jobs, especially at entry-level positions, are higher paying than a lot of other jobs that you'd get when you'd first start off in the job market. I remember, like, it was like work for minimum wage, like working at the fucking thrift store, or make, $20 an hour, or however much an hour, and working hard. And a lot of the times as well, people complain about in the trades, they work a physical job and they think, oh, I'm fucking sore. I gotta, do less things. I gotta fucking relax. I gotta sit down. My back is so sore. My hips are so sore. And it's like, yeah, you probably are a little bit sore from doing hard work, but fucking people that work desk jobs have sore backs as well. So, and that's something I've talked about before as well, is like kind of learn to pick the pain that you're going to feel. But I just feel like working in construction and working in the trades has really taught me a lot of skills that, kind of make me feel like I'm a more valuable person to my community. A lot of the times, like, fuck, half my friends and family members are always calling me like, hey, can you help me with this? Hey, can you help me with that? Can you fix this for me? Can you do that for me? Can you do this for me? And when you're able to provide for the people around you and do things for them, it just gives you an inherent feeling of, a sense of worth in this world. And so I just feel like there's so much to be said about working in the trades and working like what would be called a quote unquote blue collar job. But yeah, that's all I wanted to share with you guys. I hope you're doing well. Happy Monday. Enjoy your work day today. It is Monday. We're kicking off the week. I will catch you guys all on Thursday. We still have the Risen Fallen in-person meetups, the hikes, the mental health walks, the Zoom calls, the group chat on Telegram. If you're interested in getting involved with any of that, reach out to me on Instagram. It's at Risen Fallen. If you want to support the community as well, you can grab a hoodie, grab a tee. That's at risenfallen.com. All the proceeds go towards the in-person meetups. Maybe we go for coffee. Maybe we go for food. Maybe whatever we do. If you want to support the community and rep the brand, you can do that at risenfallen.com. Other than that, if you're listening to the podcast version of this, make sure you rate it 5 stars. Leave a little review. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. I am about to go to bed. It is Saturday night. Been talking to my phone now for about a half an hour, so I'm going to go to bed now. I'm going to go relax and get some rest. And I will talk to you guys on Thursday. Much love and peace out.